everyone, so I'm back with another video. So this video is going to be on what I wish I knew before I went natural or before I started transitioning. So before I get into this video, I want to quickly mention that Natronisi and I are doing a meet and greet here in Toronto, Canada at Eaton Centre on Saturday, November 14th. There will be tons and tons of prizes, so definitely come out if you are available. And I hope to see you guys there. Alright, so let's jump into this video. So the first thing I wish I knew before I went natural or before I started transitioning is not to use a brush. So everyone who has transitioned or is in the transition phase knows that once your hair starts to get all wavy, you know, you kind of want to slick it down, make it look nice and neat. I guess for me, I wasn't used to having that much new growth. Edges would be puffy and then hair would be straight and then it would kind of look a little weird. So I would slap on the gel and just brush away and make it all, you know, even. Eventually, I started noticing that my hairline was breaking off and that I was starting to get tiny little hairs poking out, and it was really, really annoying, and it just looked bad, and of course it was damaged. So as soon as I noticed that breaking off my edges and, you know, the front of my hair, I completely stopped using a brush and I just started using my fingers. And eventually at one point I just stopped slicking down my hair. I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna leave my hair alone. It's not worth the breakage. So what I would use is headbands. I would use either really thick ones or really skinny ones just to mask the broken hairs or mask the frizz. So that's something I wish I knew before I started transitioning. So the next thing I wish that I knew before I started transitioning is to detangle my hair in small sections. Before I started transitioning, I did my research and I saw a lot of girls and a lot of them were detangling in like 4 sections. 4 sections may work for some people, but it did not work for me. It was causing too much breakage. So I had to bring it down to, I think, 10 or 11 sections to detangle my hair. Once I started getting closer to 2 years, I was able to do it in about 6 because by then my natural hair had pretty much taken over. But when I was, you know, 5 months or whatever, I needed to detangle in like 10, 16 sections. So yeah, detangle in small sections. It all depends on how thick your hair is, how kinky your new growth is, how long your hair is, you know, stuff like that. So I suggest starting off with smaller sections, and if that's like easy breezy, you know, you can make bigger sections and so on. So small sections, start off with small sections when you're detangling your hair. The next one, which is a big one, if you guys have been following me, is protective styling. Protective styling is your friend when you're transitioning. I did protective styling a lot. I did box braids. I think I did box braids about 3 or 4 times throughout my transition. I did a partial sew-in. I did Marley twists or kinky twists, whatever you want to call them. And each of those protective styles, I kept them in for about 2 months. So it knocked off a good chunk of me not having to play with my hair or deal with it. So protective styling was a huge help. It's probably one of the main reasons why I was able to transition as long as I could. I was able to make my goal because of protective styling. Put out there that I was going to transition for 2 years, and I did it because of protective styling. Another thing is, I feel like a lot of people, when I was transitioning, a lot of people didn't mention that wash days were so long. At least for me, my wash days took me not all day, but it took a good chunk of my day up. For me, wash days were like, I don't even know. I would start like 9 and finish at like 3, and it was just a long process. But I think the main reason why it took so long is because I'm very patient, very gentle with my hair. And again, I'd work in really, really small sections, and I do everything one step at a time. When people ask me, how long does it take to do this? And how long did it take you to do that? And I tell them it took me, you know, this amount of time. They're like, what? I don't have the patience for that. I kind of wish I knew that wash days were an all-day thing before I started transitioning, just so that I could prepare myself for the long, you know, wash day. On YouTube, everything looks easy because most of us, we don't show the trials and the errors. We don't show the bad hair days, the days when we feel like ripping on our hair. We show the positive side, which is probably not the best thing. We definitely should show the trials and the errors. And you know, those days when we're just completely frustrated with our hair. So everything looks easy. And that's what I thought. I saw, you know, a few girls transitioning and their wash days seemed like it took an hour to do, when it took 5 hours for me to do. So I kind of wish I knew so that I can prepare myself and not be like, oh yeah, it's only gonna take me an hour to do, and then I look at the time, it's been like 5-6 hours and I'm still doing my hair. So wash days can take a long time. Another thing I wish I knew before transitioning is that I shouldn't air dry my hair loosely. When I say loosely, like for example, you wash your hair, you detangle it, you moisturize it, and then you just leave it to air dry on its own. You don't put in twists or anything to stretch it out, you just leave it. This only applies to certain hair types. For example, kinky hair like type 4. If we were to just leave our hair loosely to air dry, it would just shrink up and mat. Anyone who has kinky hair, type 4 hair, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it applies to everyone with kinky hair, type 4 hair, but for the most part, it applies to most of us. I made that mistake one time. I, finished washing my hair, and like I said, wash days take a long time, and I didn't know it was going to take me all day to do my hair. So I washed it, moisturized and sealed it, detangled it, and I was just so tired. I did not want to style my hair. So I went to bed thinking, okay, when I wake up in the morning, my hair will be nice and dry and I can work with it. That was the biggest mistake I ever made. I woke up and my hair was matted to my head. It shrunk right to my scalp, and it pretty much looked like I was completely relaxed. My kinky hair shrunk right to my head, and all you could see was the relaxed hair. So it looked like I had no natural hair. It just looked like I was completely relaxed, and it was a disaster to detangle. I had to pretty much re-wet my hair, re-wash my hair, and start over because of that. So yeah, depending on your hair type or whatever, air drying your hair loosely is not the best way to go. I highly recommend either stretching it out with a blow dryer, putting in, braids in your hair, or, doing 2-strand twists to stretch the new growth so that once it dries, it has a little bit of a stretch to it and that it doesn't dry matted and crazy. So yeah, that is something I wish I knew before I started transitioning, that air drying your hair loose or open is not the best way to go. Braids, twists, or blow drying is a better alternative. So let me know down below, what did you wish you knew before you started transitioning or going natural? Is there something that you saw on YouTube that you thought you could do but you couldn't actually do? Anything you have that you could share with anyone that is transitioning or thinking about transitioning, definitely comment down below. Let's help each other out. That is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in my next video.